This over here also. What's up, crypto fam? This is Bitcoin Jake09 here. Today I'm going to start a series called Talking Crypto and Minecraft, and I'm actually going to have the topic of BitQuest today with a special guest, Explody. I've actually fell in love with this project back in like 2016. It's actually a big proponent of what got me back into coding and specifically Minecraft coding to begin with. So it's really cool to have like kept in touch with Explody and have the opportunity to do a stream with him now. So if you want to go ahead and do an introduction for yourself, we can go ahead and we can start going.
Okay, so I'm a programmer and I've done some quite a few adventures games and stuff like that, and specifically BitQuest is my open source project that I started about 2015. And basically, when I started working in I started working in BitQuest. Uh, I'm BitQuest is a plugin that enables Minecraft server owner to allow Bitcoin transactions inside the server. So the idea was to start doing that, and that was when Bitcoin was about $30 or $40. So that was pretty early on. And I've been on and off working on this project, and but somehow is still alive, and I think is still relevant. I think now even more than ever now that Bitcoin is going to be in a second layer, and there's other coins that are faster, and there's NFTs and smart contracts. So I think so that's something I actually haven't been working on very much, just like very working in Bitcoin and just uh, currency coins. So yeah, that's. I'm sorry to be so weird, but with my introduction, but basically I'm developer of this plugin, and yeah.
That's amazing. Like and what I'm actually really interested as to what got you, like, what was the idea, or like how did BitQuest like come about?
Okay, so I was mining Bitcoin that time when I first learned about Bitcoin. The first thing I wanted to do was to mine it, and I had a Mac Mini. At that time, I plugged an ASIC that was Butterfly SC. That was, I think it was the second generation Butterfly ASIC miner. Bitcoin was about $70, I think,
That was
and
that was one of
I,
the ones that ran like gigahashes, right?
yeah, I think it was 40 gigahashes or 30
Yeah.
gigahashes, whatever. It was making me $4 a day on that on Bitcoin price of that day, but I had a Mac Mini, and where I also played had a Minecraft server. So both like the miner and the Minecraft server were running. So that was like, of course, the association came pretty easily, and the experiment was like, what if some of the Bitcoin that I'm mining, maybe I give it away to people who play in the server and we just have some peace or whatever. And that's that's pretty much how it started. I didn't know much about Bitcoin programming at that time. I didn't know much about Java programming at all. So the first versions were like a disaster.
Right.
But I think after like some persistence, it got momentum, and it was some like there was some small popularity for quite some time.
Yeah, I so I created Satoshi Quest. That actually like exploded in popularity like for a few days, and then like it actually killed the server because like it couldn't handle it. Like it was ridiculous. Um, I'm trying to figure out on my streaming settings how to view the chat. I can't see the chat anywhere. Hmm. Unable. Fine.
But
Oh,
is your streaming
I
okay?
think I
Is
think I can see the
live right
yeah,
now?
yeah. I'm live on Twitch, YouTube, and Periscope. Apparently, I still have an account on, even though they suspended my Twitter. Can you join server? Oh, sorry.
Why did your get suspended on Twitter?
I got suspended in December because I was asking Mr. Beast for 1 Bitcoin every day for over 200 days, and they thought I was a bot or I was spamming him. Epic Eden, what is up? Welcome. So yeah, this server is not public yet. I'm just kind of messing around. It's his development, his test server. He's recoding the BitQuest plugin for 1.17 plus. Um, and it's just something to look forward to, I guess. Do you plan to release another server soon?
Well, the focus of the we're gonna call this the BitQuest 3 is for people to make their own servers. So that's gonna be at least my first mission to get that going, get support for having servers, and after that, I wanna do a dog quest server, but I still don't know. Maybe if we ask uh, potential players what coin server could be on,
Do, do you have a way
maybe
to
we can support it.
do you have a way to turn your mic up a little bit? Somebody's saying that your sound
Sure.
is
Okay.
is lower than mine.
Let me check that real quick. So, but the answer is maybe, but yeah, the focus is uh, on yeah, doing making people able to create their own BitQuest and make it easy too. There's a Docker image. So a Docker image is basically you just download like a server template, and then you can just run it without having to configure plugins or uh, downloading Java or stuff like that, or even knowing Linux. You can just run containers.
Right.
So that's at least the first mission. And this test server uh, is gonna be for designing the game and having like people test the what it's currently being developed. But it's gonna be for the short and medium term, just testnet coins.
Okay. Um, did you have anything else that you want to add, or did you want to start doing some questions? Because I see some questions coming up.
Okay. Yeah. Let's answer questions.
So I have one question. They want to know if the DogeQuest and BitQuest world files are gone.
Okay, so that's the most important question. So,
I
like,
guess yeah,
the thing
that's
is that,
one of them. Yeah.
yeah. So, the thing is, like, I got a computer stolen from me, and I kind of
Man.
like tracked the computer down, but that was where the backup files were. So I had backups of the database, which are like the wallets of people, but for the files, I had a computer that had a array of disks. So I had the copy that I had wasn't complete. So there's this other computer that I might be able to recover it, but to be realistic, it's very hard to recover.
Right.
So
So you have the wallet files still.
the wallet files, yes.
That's good
So
at least. Um,
yeah, to
there is
learn
at least
from
a
this
plus
lesson,
side.
there are the wallets, but the word files was like there was two backups, and my mistake was I didn't check the two backups. They were fine. So when I had one backup stolen, I thought I had the second one, and then I realized that the process that was making the backup had failed from a long time. Like there was like an empty directory. So
Hmm.
my apologies for like being such a bad systems operator, and that's also I think a hard lesson for me, and it's also the reason why I'm choosing to focus on making the plugin very reliable and having the people host their own servers, because like I think I can do a pretty good job of making the plugin, but I'm not sure if I'm able to do a good job of doing the plugin and also being like the server administrator and all that. And
Yeah, I
I
mean
also
it's
think like,
hard. I understand that because I have like 2/3 of my network is down right now. The only server I have online is Anarchy. So
so one thing that we can learn from this, that I learned from this, is that, or that it has incorporated into my new philosophy of programming, is that I would really like for uh, players to be able to download their wallets. So I'm very
yeah,
convinced
that
by
was
the idea
actually
of.
so you know the other project that I've been working on recently is Crypto Plugin, which I'm live testing
Mhm.
on Anarchy with Dogecoin. Something I've been talking to Ashpool about is like how to manage like the funds in a way that can be somewhat plausibly deniably custodial. So, and I think the way to really do that is to let people export their keys, but also a way to import keys. But on the key import, you basically do like a paper wallet sweep. So you sweep that key and send it to their new balance that they can get the key to. So that was kind of something that we were
So
talking about,
and also because I'm very convinced of the idea of, if they're not your keys, they're not your Bitcoin.
and I agree
So I
too.
think like we can go to the dark side and just be a custodial wallet, but why?
I
That's
mean,
that's the another reason, like there's the
oh, I
opposite
know.
principle.
So like Satoshi Quest, that's been down for a while, and I'm basically custodial for that because the way I coded that, and like I mean that was my first time really doing a full crypto plugin by myself. So like I definitely had some issues there. Like I learned a lot from it now. That's why crypto plugin that I did now, the newer one's way better. It's way more efficient. It actually makes a lot more sense, and like um all I have to do now is like just add the export keys for players really and import the other ones. But with Satoshi Quest, like it's been down. I've had two players actually contact me to like get funds. So like basically I kind of spin the server up for them so they can log in, and then like it basically crashes because it's got 500 plus wallets to look through. And then once it's like it loads their wallet, they can either log in and withdraw it themselves, or I can just send it to them since I already verified them at that point. But
Yeah, that sounds good. I think for a goal for me, well, there's some problems that this is gonna introduce, because having the wallets, the users, if the users can download wallet um, using a mnemonic key. So
hmm.
let's, for example, a user could just have an export command and see this 12 English language words that can be converted back into a private key and of the Bitcoin wallet. Uh, that's something really simple, but the server has to check for confirmations now, because the player could signal a transaction inside the server, for
So
example, like buying land, and at the
I
same time outside the game do
that's
a
that
transaction. Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's something that we've actually been looking at too, and that kind of is up to the node operator. The node operator has to have replaced by fee off on their node for transactions. That way, like any transaction done on the node, the fee can't be replaced. The transaction can't be reverted without like a 51% attack or something. Um, but and then at that point, like I mean, it kind of works. But at the same time, Bitcoin is kind of slow unless you're doing like zero confirmation, which you can do.
So, I think there's a discussion that's gonna be around this, how it's gonna be implemented, and I think this is gonna be a very interesting discussion. I and but uh, right now, I think what is important is that I think, at least I've learned, that it's very important to have the players be able to export their keys, because uh, stuff goes down, and there's a warning in BitQuest that the server is experimental and so forth, and so all these experimental servers, it will be much easier and reassuring to players, so they know they can experiment with this stuff, that if it goes down, the only thing that they have to do is just write their mnemonic key into a wallet, and they can just recover their funds.
Right. Yeah, that was
That will
something.
be.
The alert was something I put on the crypto plugin. So, and that was also something I'm trying to do with crypto plugin is make it so easy for somebody else to use that I'm actually making it use like a JSON config for the node, as opposed to environmental variables. I mean, it can actually still use environmental variables if someone was to use like a Docker and have it as a support jar within the Docker for another plugin. um, you could do that and still set the environmental variables for it through the Docker config, but it does support JSON config, or it's like or like like whatever node you're gonna use, you just call it like doge.json and you set it up with all the normal variables that would be within the environmental config. Um, but I'm actually doing release jars for it, so that way somebody can just literally download the release jar, spin up a crypto node, and then make the .json config for it, and it should basically work.
Yeah, that's sounds excellent. Like it's so that's how it should be. So there's also what you spoke to me before about Bungie Cord, that you can tie all these servers together. So if it's just
Yeah.
as easy as downloading a jar and putting there, then you can tie up all these servers and create this metaverse of crypto servers. So I want to just go back to the topic of what I'm doing to prevent this in the future with BitQuest and being able, of course, the world being downloaded is there's I still don't have an idea of how this will be done, but also I would like in the next BitQuest to for players also to be able to download at least their home or their chunk. But I don't know if that's even possible. But at least I have a very solid idea on how the users will be able to back up their wallets and use them even if the server is not running. So the Bitcoin they deposit on the servers is there for them, and even when the server is not online. So that will introduce a change. That is that the users, when they claim land, they will have to wait for a confirmation.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be instant. And also maybe, and it's this maybe I
Well,
would love to know your opinion. Yeah.
so like what I did with Satoshi Quest, for example, and like I was saying before, if you have replace by fee off on your node that you're doing the transaction through, the server operator, then you can essentially, once you get a transaction ID for the zero confirmation uh, transaction, you can actually go ahead and give a life at that point, because you know that's not going to be replaced. Even though it might, like, because I had fees set so low on Satoshi Quest because it was just $1 to play, and at first it was like, it was okay, fees weren't that bad, but then it got up to like 50 cents, $1 for fee, and I was like, okay, this is kind of ridiculous. So I had to set the fee really low on Satoshi Quest to like 10, 15 cents at the most, and actually let players set it themselves. But it would usually confirm within 6 hours to 3 days, maybe a week at the worst. But once they, they could buy like 5 or 10 lives at one time at that point, and then it might not even confirm, but they can still play with those lives while it's confirming, since you do have the transaction ID already, and it can't be replaced by fee.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So you already have a transaction ID of something that is on the mempool.
right, yeah.
But if it doesn't get to the blockchain, and then you can send it
Well,
outside if you did the backup.
yeah, well, yeah, I guess, but I never did less than 1.2 satoshis a byte, just because it like I know 1.2 and up will confirm. Like if I do 1.0
Yeah,
or
that's
less,
if you have a good bet that's gonna confirm with that fee that you're paying with, uh, and this and you can detect that the transaction is that it's not already spent on the mempool, then yeah, and perhaps it's the stake you have that the player is gonna win because he's gonna double spend. But yeah, basically you if you make a good bet on the fee that you're paying, it will confirm first. But
I
that is super high on Bitcoin right now. That is
yeah.
also
But that's
a
why if you
possibility
that's
on
what I was
Bitcoin.
saying, if you do a low fee, it might take days to confirm, but at least you can pretty much bet that it will. I do have some questions coming in. Just some random crap wants to. He said something about that sounds amazing. Not gonna lie, would make people feel safer about playing. I think he's talking about being able to like export your wallet. And then he's also saying downloading their land. Wouldn't that be possible to go to single player and find materials and such? So I'm not sure. I don't know if you were saying about about being able to download land
Yeah,
earlier. I think you were just talking
I'm
to, I think were you saying about NFTs for the land though, maybe? Or are you actually
yeah. So So maybe there must be a feature for systems administrators to make good backups of the labs. Maybe it's not for players to download their LAN. Maybe that's not the right idea. I was just thinking out loud there, what I do know that is on something that I am working on is, yeah, players can, the wallets are generated, are going to be generated using mnemonic keys, so 12 English language words. And at any time, you can just run a command, download those keys. Those keys, you can put it on your cell phone, on a wallet, any BIP32 compatible wallet. And if the server goes down, the money is there. And it's totally of the players. Of course, the private keys are also on the server. So if the server is compromised, like, yeah, that's. So I'm not gonna lie there. There's risk too, but at least it's a shared risk between the player and the server.
Yeah, it's not full custodial. It's more bi-custodial, plausibly, deniably custodial. Um, yeah, no, it's definitely better for people to have their keys. They definitely feel safer, even if the server that still has keys. At least they have theirs as a backup to be able to do what they want if they in the event that they need to. That's a big thing that people like. I do have another question. They're asking our TX is going to be on chain, off chain, or code for both, and let admins decide. I'm pretty sure all transactions will be on chain.
Okay,
Um,
so
yeah, go
I
ahead.
think for now, yeah, but it will be awesome if I'm still learning about layer two,
Yeah,
but
Lightning Network. We
let's
were talking about
say,
that before.
yeah, I don't see why it's possible to use like in the future a layer two uh, for making payment channels. Uh, so layer two is basically uh, all the transactions occur on a ledger that is not on chain, and then the result of that ledger, the balances of those ledgers goes later to blockchain, and everyone can transact um, off chain, and it's cryptographically correct. I've also been hearing about another idea on the Bitcoin mailing list. It's called like the Sabu protocol, which is some sort of like staking on UTXO, or I'm not sure if I understand correctly, but if any of those technologies are proved that they work efficiently, it will be awesome that there's layer two in BitQuest. It makes sense. It makes sense that there's a payment channel inside the world. You enter a world. There's Bitcoin wallets. You put some money in there, but that money is can be used to open a channel, and that channel can allow, if it's connected to all the other players, will allow everyone to make zero fee transactions between all the connected clients to the channel, and you pay only to close the channel. So in the practice, that will be that closing the channel is when you take the money out of the game. That's where you pay a transaction fee for taking the money into the game and out of the game. But all the transactions between game are off chain, and this is like layer two is the effect is similar to like moving balances in a database internally, but actually it is something that is uh, zero trust, and meaning that it's you can guarantee that your Bitcoin is there as like something like tether, like you just hope that there's dollar there. We we can speculate about that, but you cannot see what is inside USD. The difference is that you can see what is behind a Lightning network. Like you can see who are the participants, but you know that all these off-chain transactions are backed by actual Bitcoin, and that's very important for the stuff not to be a pyramid scheme.
What?
So, like, the idea
Oh.
is that players
Uh-oh.
don't have to trust the server owner that he actually has all the money that there's on the server. You know, like, I want to be able to connect to a Minecraft server, put my money in there, and have a guarantee that is segregated. And whenever I want to take that money out, I can take it out. And if the administrator is just doing some shady things with the money that is there, we can detect it by just looking at the payment channels and the Lightning Network. So right now, it's not like that. It's a black box. It's just like putting money in the bank. You just have faith that the bank has the money that is in your deposits, but you never know for sure. So I think that the game is exactly the same. The technology is much more complicated, but I think it's very important to after this bad experiences to have a philosophy on how the stuff can be uh, um, transparent, and that was the spirit along the way. Like how we just spoke. Like most of the time, like at the beginning, it was just like giving away Bitcoin that was mine. So
Yeah, I did that with
it was a long
Satoshi
road
Quest
from
too.
that.
Yeah. I
So
died.
yeah, it's a
I I got
much
a I
better
got
vision now, I
I got
think.
a live bug
Mhm.
report for you. When you die, it duplicates your items.
Nice. That's a nice bug.
Do you have PvP on? No.
Yeah. So like the code that is running now is not the latest. I will try to update it as often as I can. But so progress can be checked, but more important is that there's discussion about the rules. Like I would love if there is a discussion about the size of land or the prices of items or the rules of the game, basically. So, and after that discussion, I think it will be awesome to start a world with those rules instead of just fixing the game and making the rules as like so this experimental server with testnet is just about that.
Okay, so it's about
And
finding
I
out. So it's about finding out what the community wants and trying to build that for them.
yes, and of course I would love to have volunteers to test all the features that are about downloading your wallet and have your funds safe. So when it launches, when we can say, hey, this is ready for production, let's make a BitQuest server. Uh, we know that that stuff is solid before it starts in mainnet. So I have all the time in the world to code this, but I won't be putting a mainnet server until I feel that these problems have been solved in a profound and like deep way. You know, like it's gonna be now uh, the most important feature in this new version will be the powers that the users they have to download their stuff. So I think it's gonna be cool because it will also allow players to using Bungie cords to go to another server and maybe take those mnemonic codes and import the wallet in another server and
Well,
spend the money that. Mhm.
yeah, that's kind of what we were talking about before, me and Ashpool. Because if man, I kind of forget like how it was, but like basically if if it's the same key, yeah, that's what it was. So like if I have a key on, let's say, my server that I'm using, and I go over to your server and I import it there, and then let's say I go over to a third server and I import it there, and they all have the same balance, right? Well, yeah, that's cool, but then what if server 3 operator becomes nefarious and decides to, you know, spend those
Yeah,
funds?
this is yeah.
There's no way to tell at which point it was. But whereas if you do it like a sweet paper wallet where, you can import a key or a mnemonic or whatever, but that goes to your local address that you already have created. It's like swept and sent to there. And that eliminates that kind of problem. But then you don't have the same balance on every server, and you have to pay for a transaction if you want to import it on each server. But
So here's the thing, like that's a very uh
why did I? I don't.
interesting problem, but I think like there's gonna be some limits because of Minecraft. So because there could be a way to no, but actually yeah, that's one problem. But maybe the users should be very cautious where they enter. Like we can never know. Like once you have the ability to export your keys, uh, you have to be also very careful where you store it. Like if you just put it on a book and then just someone takes it and sees there's 12 words, he's gonna say this is a Bitcoin wallet, it's gonna steal too. So I think the mentality of having that and where you put it, it's always, I think it's always going to be a limiting factor. And I think that
I do have some
there's
more.
going to be,
I have some more questions coming up too, but an idea that I just kind of had because like I've been learning a lot more like bucket coding and stuff the last few days and weeks and stuff, and I think one kind of idea that we could maybe do, it would be kind of hard to implement, but it could be a like a GUI interface where the blocks are like the words that you select from, so that way nobody has to type any words in case that accidentally goes to chat or something. But it would be like a,
yeah.
but I mean, you know what I mean when I'm talking about that type of thing. But let me go ahead. I mean, that's something we can talk about later. Let me go ahead and grab some of these questions because there is some chats coming in. I think this is where I stopped at. Somebody wants to know if you still sleep in a parking lot, so I guess they want to know how you're doing.
I do fine.
You do fine.
Yeah, I do fine. Why did I tell somebody I slept in a parking lot? That's probably a joke. Like I've never slept in a parking lot.
Okay. Yeah, I have no idea. Somebody else said
I
light.
never slept on. I
That's what.
thankfully I've never had to sleep on something that is not a bed.
That's great. That's what I was saying. I guess they were wondering how you're doing. But anyway, the next thing says lightning quest would be amazing. Um, somebody says, will the plugin have a trade function or auction house or maybe an API so that other auction house plugins could interact with the BitQuest plugin? So that's kind of something I've been looking into more lately, is how to do API stuff with other plugins. And apparently it seems as easy as just having that other plugin alongside your plugins that you're running and just calling the functions from them. So for example, like crypto plugin like has a wallet for each player. Like you could literally like just call crypto plugin dot player.wallet from another plugin, you know, as an example of the API. So I do think some sort of auction or a trade house is possible, and using crypto. So that is something that we will probably discuss in the future. Um, let's see what else we have. Please don't remove the infinite random enchants that was the best part of BitQuest. Creeper
Okay,
buffs.
so nothing is
Creeper buffs he means. But don't remove the creeper
yeah. So
buffs.
I think like all the code is being like I've been translating parts of the code into a better programming pattern and also to the new Bungie core. But when I started this conversion, I think it was like we spoke that let's do like something very close to the original BitQuest. And I think that's still like the first mission. Maybe if it turns out to be different, if that's good. But at least for now, um, the I will be focusing on that the stuff is very very close to the original. Um, so yeah, no changes in that regard, I guess. But I don't know. I think that that will also need to be discussed how configurable can be like the monster buffs or the levels and the experience maybe in the configuration on server by server. I recall that the original one was very, very hard and yeah, cool. But I think like also that is something more for crypto plugin because like crypto plugin is more like something to do something more advanced and cool and maybe interoperable with other plugins. BitQuest for me is still this, or at least in this stage, I think it's much. It's gonna be very successful if it has a small scope right now. Like if we try to just recreate the original experience with much better speed, with support for the new Minecraft versions, with some like the annoying stuff uh, fixed. I think that's and with the problem of like what happens if this stuff gets steal or like the last time like I lost the backup. So it's more like that like at least for the medium term, but I would love to also be able to, once this is done, be able to collaborate on the crypto plugin, and maybe then I would love to help you do like a Java doc page where you can just go through the classes and see what their methods are. So if you're creating a plugin, there's this nice
Yeah,
docs where you can see where you can hook up where your code, right?
right.
Uh, but yeah, that's not the mission for BitQuest, I think.
Can I can't. Oh, I can't. Okay, I was trying to trade some items back to the villager for emeralds. Um,
Yeah, I'm just
no,
seeing
you're
the
fine.
new
I
UI
was just playing
for
around. I got some other comments and questions. I got different size land would be great so you could sell a house rather than chunks, especially if you can buy a house while the owner is offline. Um, different size land question mark like golden shovel plugin question mark. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but they use like a golden shovel and you can kind of like select the corners of your plots. Um,
Mhm.
Somebody said, yeah, that's a good idea. We they have old
So the reason
screenshots.
why the stuff is in chunks is because it's faster to do a calculation. So you do this the chunks the property size is chunks because that way we can just store in a much lower resolution, and the data structure for that is much smaller, so we can just make the server faster. I think it will be if we do different size chunks, it will be a very we will need a lot of bigger servers, better databases, and better algorithms, and a lot of more checking for errors. I would love if that was something that I knew how I could make it work, but maybe not right now. I think more realistically, maybe the shapes of lands are uh, are
Are you serious,
two
villager?
two 4 by 4. Oh, sorry, in like
The
instead the
villager.
street numbers
Get out of
of
here.
villager.
Yeah, I had you like right in the screen, and oh man, come on, villagers, really get out of here.
So, but yeah, there's a performance problem with doing that type of thing, and uh, for there's a lot of work to be done right now, and once we get to the original experience with a little tweaking and this security stuff for wallets, that's going to be version 3.0. And what happens after that, I will also would love to start a conversation. And maybe there's a rule change for 3.1, and maybe I changed my mind about land size. Maybe for 3.1 I decided that it's possible, but for at least right now I just don't see how it's possible because of this performance stuff. Also a bit about that because uh, we just calculate the chunk number when you are on when you're walking. You just calculate the chunk number, and based on that, we calculate the permissions if you are able
Oh
to
yeah, yeah,
write
yeah.
in that
I could that's
chunk, or if
that's
you're
just
only able
that
to read.
the code for that would basically just be check if two squares overlap.
Hmm.
Yeah, that wouldn't be too
Yeah,
hard,
yeah,
honestly.
sure.
Yeah. Let me
Uh,
see what else do we have.
yeah, maybe
The I got some
there's
other
of course great algorithms for that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of stuff we can do, and I'm like I'm willing to help. I've been in contact with you for years. I got some other stuff here. The high level mobs are a lot of fun too. Maybe put a much bigger cap for touch enemies very far away from spawn. I don't know if I read that right. Maybe put a much bigger cap for touch enemies very far away from spawn. I don't know. That's what it says. Um, Every open source project starts with the best intentions of having really good documentation. Yeah, that's hilarious. I have like no documentation at all in mine. Um, let's see. That's where
So
they.
well, there was a tiny bit of work that I've done now in the documentation. So documentation for BitQuest now is much better than what it was like before I left it off, but still more to be done. But there's there's better documentation now, and I've been paying attention to that in the last week.
Somebody said that's where the API might come in handy with LAN. Let Golden Shovel interact with the BitQuest plugin. Oh, interesting. And then we have a BitQuest 1 fan here. I loved me some BitQuest back in the day. Some nice memories from high school. I'm not a programmer, unfortunately, so I'm pretty useless with Java code. And he also said the level 300 zombie was speed 5. Yes! Okay. Let me see. Somebody wants me to check Discord too. Let me go check that out. Uh, BitQuest Discord or Satoshi Quest? I don't know what Discord in BitQuest. What am I looking for? Did you DM me? Oh my gosh, I have so much going on. All right, hold on. Oh gosh, okay, yeah. I'll go ahead and send that to Explody. Here, that's from 8 Mile.
Okay, yeah. Okay, that I don't remember doing that,